Sairam, Shri Sai Satcharitra, chapter 7, first paragraph, page number 39. So, the beginning of chapter 7 and what all it contains is wonderful incarnation, behavior of Sai Baba, his yogic practices, his all pervasiveness and mercy, leper devotees' service, Master Khaparde's plague case, and going to Pandharpur. So these are all the topics that is explained or narrated in chapter 7. The first one is wonderful incarnation. Sai Baba knew all yogic practices. He was well versed in 6 processes, including dhauti, that is, stomach cleansing by a moistened piece of linen, 3 inches in breadth and 22.5 inch in length. Khanda Yogi, that is separating his limbs and joining them again, and Samadhi, etc. If you thought that he was a Hindu, he looked like a Yavana. Yavana is Muslim. If you thought him to be a Yavana, he looked like a pious Hindu. No one definitely knew whether he was a Hindu or a Mohammedan. He celebrated the Hindu festival of Ram Navami with all due formalities, and at the same time permitted the sandal procession of the Mohammedans. He encouraged wrestling bouts in this festival. When the Gokulashtami came, he got the Gopal Kala ceremony duly performed. And on Eid festivals, he allowed the Mohammedans to say their prayers in his masjid. So this gives us a description of this wonderful incarnation. First of all, the statement, the beginning itself, the heading of the paragraph, it is wonderful incarnation. Incarnation is a word used for avatars. Reincarnation is the word which is used for the, let's say, common people like us who reincarnate based on our karmas, based on our rinas and rinanubandhas, karma phalas. That is a reincarnation. That is the cycle of life and death, life and death, and life and death. The avatars, there are 3 types of avatars: the Anshavatar, the Karanavatar, and Purnavatar. These incarnate, they don't reincarnate. The difference is the conscience or the individual conscience, the divine. The divine ultimately is the supreme consciousness, the Brahman. When from Brahman, Shunya Gita very clearly narrates the, from Shunya to Sakshi, Sakshi to how it happens and how the Chaitanya and the Tattva just segregates itself to be born for a specific purpose. So we all are eventually the same Brahman whom we are seeking. However, the Maya segregates the individual consciousness with the Brahman, Maya slash the mind. So these wonderful incarnations, these incarnations are the ones who take birth for 3 different reasons. Karanavatar, for a particular purpose, Karana. Ansha, the supreme consciousness, and the Ansha, the divine, the individual consciousness evolved. And then Purna, supreme consciousness, which has descended into multiple entities or tattvas like Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, or, Dattatreya, the integration of 6 Anshas or essence, which is Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Saraswati, Lakshmi, Parvati. So all the 6 together is Datta. So that is how the incarnations happen for a specific purpose or for the upliftment of the whole mankind and or of the with the divine consciousness and the individual consciousness. So this is the definition of incarnation. This is not a part of our mundane life and birth and death cycle, which is reincarnation, we call it as. This is devoid of that. This incarnation is devoid, and when the time comes, the entity, for example, as we know, Dattatreya, post that Datta has, I mean, incarnated in several ways, and the same Dattatreya has incarnated in the form of Sri Shirdi Sainath Maharaj. So that is incarnation. He also had incarnated as Sant Kabir Das. So we cannot say that the previous birth of Baba was Sant Kabir Das. Fair enough, we can always say because eventually it is Datta, right? We are Avadhuta Sampradayis or Datta Sampradayis. This is the ultimate truth for us. So wonderful incarnation in the form of Sri Shirdi Sainath Maharaj. It is not incarnation of Sri Shirdi Sainath Maharaj. In the form of Shirdi Sainath Maharaj, the supreme consciousness, the Brahman himself. Right? We go on. Sai Baba knew all yogic practices, needless to say. Are they ones who learn everything? Or are they the ones who have been born with all the yogic knowledge, practices, and abilities? This is something which we have to ponder upon. An incarnation. Here we have to dwell into two separate subjects. One, an incarnation is born with everything. There is nothing that the incarnation has to learn, practice, master it, nothing. They're born with everything. However, let's say it's like a container of the divine content the entity has. But at the right time, that has to be opened up. That is the job of a guru. Hence, every greatest of the masters, every greatest of the avatars, they always revere their gurus. Guru's importance and significance is unquestionable. The tradition of Guru Shishya Sampradaya is respected even by the incarnations, that is, avatars, or the divine Purna avatars themselves. Lord Krishna had highest of regards for Sandipani. Likewise, every avatar has highest of regards and obedience they pledge, because end of the day, which however evolved by birth we are. Let us say as yogis of Shunya Kriya, we have mastered, we have done everything, we've attained a Shunya. Despite that, because of some influence of Maya, some Runanabandhas or Karma Phalas, we may have to take birth again. So in that case, despite being an evolved soul, despite having everything in ourselves, you need a guru to open up, just to open up. The moment it is opened up, everything comes from within very spontaneously. There is nothing much that you need to learn, practice. It comes very spontaneously because it's already in you. The same thing Baba always used to say, that no one is ignorant. No one is ignorant of the ultimate truth. No one is ignorant about the fact that they themselves are the Brahman. But just that knowledge is covered with dust and muck. As a guru, I don't teach anything. There is nothing to teach anyone. There is nothing to to enlighten anyone, evolve anyone. I just have to cleanse the dust, which is dust and muck, which is covered the knowledge. So that is how the gurus tradition or guru, what he does is defined. What guru does for us, guru as a tattva does even for the incarnation. So why I am saying this is because Sai Baba knew all yogic practices. Despite that, did he learn? No, he was born with. But when it is all blocked, when he takes a birth, his guru opened it up. So that is why some people say Baba had a guru whom he learned everything. No, there was nothing for him to learn. He was born with everything. But yes, despite that, a guru cleared the way. A guru opened up two things, important things in our lives. Let us please give attention to that. A mother and guru. A mother who brings us to this world, and a guru who evolves us when we are in this world. Two important things in our life, a mother and a guru, right? So Sai Baba knew all yogic practices. He was well versed with six processes, including Dhauti. There are practices in yoga, not the asanas. There are yogic practices which are outside of the Ashtanga yoga, yama, niyama, pratyahara, asana, pranayama, asana, dhyana, dharana, moksha. That besides that, there are yogic practices. One of them, we have so many upasadhanas, which are all the yogic practices. Likewise, Baba had a mastery on the six most difficult or the most, what do you call, technically difficult, and to perform it is exceptionally difficult. He had the knowledge of all those things like Dhauti, Khanda Yoga. Khanda Yoga, it is very clearly mentioned. We have spoken about it. Baba used to remove the organs from his body, clean it with water, wash it and clean it, and put it back into the body. That is Khanda Yoga. Now on earth, nobody can practice that. Be rest assured, no one knows Khanda Yoga in this world. It is so difficult, it is so dangerous. It can be done only by the master himself. Otherwise, Khanda Yoga as a practice is non-existent in this world now, right? There was a saint, I must tell you that where did it start? There was a saint in northern part of Karnataka and southern part of Maharashtra. His name is Siriyala, right? His name is Bhakta Siriyala. What he did was, once it's a story, it is a mythological story, or it is a Puranic story, whatever. He had to serve Lord Shiva, so he amputes, it's very gross and very difficult to even comprehend. He had nothing in his house. He had high level of poverty. He sacrifices his own son, makes a food out of him and serves Lord Shiva. And then that is when Lord Shiva appears looking at his birth. Without feeding Lord Shiva, he would not do anything. He appears and reinstates the child. That's the origin of Khanda Yoga, they say. One of the school of thoughts. So Khanda Yoga is the most difficult. Then we move on. If you thought that he was a Hindu, he looked like a Yavana, the Muslim. If you thought him to be a Yavana, he looked like a pious Hindu. No one definitely knew whether he was a Hindu or a Muslim, Mohammedan. So he celebrated Ram Navami with all formalities and Sunday processions of Mohammedans. He encouraged wrestling bouts in this festival. Gokulashtami he celebrated and everything. So how is this? And he allowed Mohammedans to say their prayers in his masjid on Eid. So first of all, it is high time we liberated God from religion. We have this disgusting and a very, unacceptable at a very low level of thinking and thought processes, where we try to ascertain the religion of the Guru, which is grossly wrong. God and Guru don't have a religion. A Guru doesn't have a religion. A God doesn't have a religion. सो मतलब किसी भगवान को या गुरु को किसी धर्म के बोतल में नहीं उतारना चाहिए. वी शुड नॉट confine them to a particular religion. Number one, we have to be intellectually, spiritually evolved enough not to ascertain, not to try and ascertain the religion of a guru. Does it really make a difference? The one who is above and beyond everything, not just religion, above and beyond Maya, above and beyond gender, Nirguna, Nirakara. So he is nothing, Nirvichara, Nirvikalpa. For that Guru, if we have to say that he is a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian, I think we have not even started our spiritual progression. We haven't even taken the first step. So it is such a ridiculous thing. However, Satcharitra, because how shallow is our understanding and our spiritual evolutions, due to which Sri Sai Satcharitra has made an effort, Sri Govinda Raghunath Dhabodkar, to explain the same that he was neither a Hindu nor a Muslim. We'll come to that separately. But he was above and beyond religion. He said, Baba in some other scriptures, other literature of Shirdi, Baba's narration has been printed. For example, Sai Leela magazine. So very cryptically, one of the disciples asks Baba, very purely, it doesn't make a difference if Baba had said that I am born as a Muslim, not that that devotee or disciples' love and commitment to Baba would have come down. Neither if he had said I am a Hindu, that would not have mattered. Despite that, as a curious mind, curiosity, he asked Baba, are you born a Hindu or a Muslim? Baba, for a change, these kind of questions, Baba used to take it very, he used to be very offended about it. Despite that, he says smilingly, the रास्ते तो अलग अलग है. मैं मंजिल हूं. तुम रास्ते पे खड़े रह के बोलोगे कि मेरा रास्ता अच्छा है, उसका रास्ता अच्छा नहीं है, या उसका रास्ता ठीक नहीं है, मेरा रास्ते सबसे बढ़िया है, लेकिन तुम मंजिल को भूल जाओगे. मंजिल कभी पहुंच नहीं पाओगे और मैं मंजिल हूं. What it means to say, goes on to say, is that you are on a road to me, who is a destination. If you think that the road you traverse on is the best, and you are comparing with another road and say that that road is wrong, this route is better, this route is better, my route is better than the other route. So if you start keep judging, you will still remain on the road. You will remain on the streets. You will never reach the destination. I am the destination. In whichever form, whichever way you come to me, I am the same. I don't belong to the roots. I am the destination. What it means to say is, don't be stupid. And Baba, in his 11 sayings and promises, very clearly has said that in whichever form people worship me, I shall bestow upon them in the same way. For someone, he looked like Lord Shiva, someone he looked like Lord Vithala, someone he looked like Krishna, somebody he looks like Devi. So somebody sees him as a Khuda ka Noor, the light of the divine supreme consciousness. So you can't, he is the destination. Let us not confine him to the streets. We belong to the streets. He is the destination. So that is what Baba said, right? This paragraph till here speaks about, don't let us not get into whether Baba was born a Hindu or a Muslim. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense, right? For example, I just have to clarify this. We have a movement called ISKCON. ISKCON is International Shri Krishna Consciousness or whatever. In that order of ISKCON, three brothers who were Mohammedans by birth, they embrace Gaudiya Brahmana Sampradaya. They join the ISKCON. They are duly initiated into the Gaudiya Brahmana Sampradaya and they become ISKCON followers. And the best part, one of them becomes the head of ISKCON. Imagine. Srila Prabhupada's predecessors, one of them was a born Muslim. Finally, he comes to Puri Jagannatha and he says, I want to take the darshan and see the orthodoxy in our thought processes. Priests of Jagannath Puri temple, they don't allow him for darshana. They won't allow him, they won't let him in because he was born a Muslim. And praying to Jagannatha, that great saint, without having the darshan of Puri Jagannatha, he passes away in Puri. Look at the difference. A born as a Muslim, beautifully embraced by the order of Gaudiya Brahmana Sampradaya, made him the pontiff, head of that Sampradaya. Despite that, some people did not allow him to have the darshan of his God. And he sheds his body in Puri Jagannath. So, see how the human interference happens. Shallow understanding of bhakti. So let us, as Saipanthis and Avadhutas of Shunya Kriya, let us not get into that level. We are above and beyond that, right? So we move on. Once during a Muharram festival, some Mohammedans proposed to construct a tazia or a tabut in the masjid. Keep it there for some days and afterwards take it in a procession through the village. Sai Baba allowed the keeping of the tabut for 4 days, and on the fifth day got it removed from the masjid without the least compunction. If we say that he was a Mohammedan, his ears were pierced, that is, had holes in the ears, according to Hindu custom. If you think that he was a Hindu, he advocated the practice of circumcision, though according to Shri Nana Sahib Chandorkar, who observed him closely, he was not himself circumcised. Wide article Sai Leela on Baba Hindu Ki Yavana by D.V. Dev, page 562. So if you call him a Hindu, he always lived in the masjid. If you call him a Mohammedan, he had always a dhuni, sacred fire there, and the following things, which are contrary to Mohammedan religion. That is, grinding on the handmill, blowing of the conch and the bells, oblation in the fire, bhajan, giving food and worship of Baba's feet by means of arghya, that is water, were allowed there. Look at this. Again, what I spoke just now, above and beyond religion. The order, the gospel, and the doctrine of Shirdi, if you see, it is extremely intricate and perfect. Baba picked up the best practices, religious, spiritual practices, which were prescribed in every religion. The best. Whether it was prescribed in Islam or whether it is prescribed in Hinduism or from the Vedic days or from Christian religion or Sikhism, he used or he took out the threads from the best of rituals, perfect practices, and teachings. So that is why we always believe, we always say, Shirdi is the only place in the world where it is a convergence of all religions. There is not a single place in the world. Many religions may allow people practicing other religions in their premise, but they have their distinct individual religious identity. Whereas in Shirdi, there is nothing. There is nothing. We are, as a disciples and devotees of Sri Sainath Maharaj, and we belong to Shirdi, we are above and beyond religion. Please remember this. If there is any confusion, let the Maya, the illusion which is creating that confusion and a thought in your mind, let it dissolve. Trust me, you have evolved beyond religion once you have stood by the adherence to the soil of Shirdi, right? So now coming to the practices, as I said, Baba was not circumcised. Many people have said this. Obviously, we know for a fact it doesn't make any difference. And Hindus have this, custom of piercing the ear of the child, whether it is a male child or the female child. Every Hindu, especially Marathwada and down, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, and downwards, they pierce the ears of the infant, the child. Baba's ears were pierced, and Baba was not circumcised. These are truth, these are fact. And there is a hypothesis which says that Baba was born into a Deshastha Brahmana family from in a village called Patri, or earlier days Patharadi, and his name was Hari, Hari Parashurama Busari. His father was Parashurama Busari, Parashurama Dattatreya Busari. His grandfather was Dattatreya Sam Busari. So this is the hypothesis. And as this chapter says, nobody knows it for sure or certainty. And also, it doesn't make a difference. We are not going to confine him to any particular religion. So whatever was practiced, now coming to the rituals which were practiced, please, you have to understand this very deeply. Baba, first in Shirdi, started giving food to people. When he came and started living in Dwarkamai, whoever came, he gave them food. And then he had mastery in medicine, the native medicine, herbal medicine. You call it Ayurveda or Unani or whatever. Baba used to administer medicines directly to the people who used to come. People used to get cured and felt better. But one day, Baba thought to himself, and said, all these ailments, physical, emotional, mental, psychological, all these ailments are due to the karmas and karma phalas, ridas and ridanabandhas. So the only way, the first spiritual or religious practice, or first practice to remove all these negativities in our lives, physical ailments, what was performed was yajna. Yajna, which has the relevance from the days of Vedas. The first religious practice in this world was started through yajna, sacrifice of all the negativities into the yajna kunda, not sacrifice, removing. And by giving the sacrifices doesn't mean the animal sacrifice or something. Any kind of sacrifice, not in literal sense, ahutis, navagraha ahutis, different ahutis were given to the Yajna Kunda, and those negativities were removed, due to which people's physical ailments were used to disappear. circumstantial, worldly worries. All these things used to evaporate. So hence, Baba started this divine thing, which is still, relevant and it is still happening. Is he lit a dhuni, a eternal yajna. As long as the mankind remains, that dhuni will keep burning and destroying all the impurities and negativities, karma phala, rana anubandhas, worries, miseries of his devotees and disciples. He started that yajna. The first thing which he started. And he started giving ahutis. We have to remember one thing. Baba, before eating anything, first he used to give a morsel of it as an ahuti to the dhuni and then start eating. This is a typical practice of a Agnihotri. When the Havana is happening, Agnihotri doesn't eat till the Havana doesn't get over. He gives the offerings and then he eats. Baba used to give the offerings to the Agni, then start his meal. So the first sacred practice that started in Dwarkamai was Havan. Eternal Havan, which is happening in Shirdi even to this day. And for us, the Avadhutas of Shunyakriya and Saipanthis, we all know how important is our Havanas. We always perform in our retreats. On the last day, we perform the Havanas. That is how significant, and the fire comes from Shirdi. We all know how. So the fire also is ignited from the Udi of Shirdi, right? That is the significance, and that was the first thing which Baba practiced there. And also, if the sacred dhuni fire there, and he had, contrary to Mohammedan religion or belief system, that washing his feet, doing the artis, having a vrindavana, which is the tulsi plant, then blowing the conches, having bhajans and kirtans. What kind of a Muslim would do that if Baba were to be confined to a particular religion? And what kind of a Hindu would allow a tabut, which is during the days of Muharram? Muharram is the mourning days. So who will allow that? Who will allow, which Hindu Brahman would allow a sandal festival, Urus, in his abode? So it was a place of integration of all the religions. Once it so happened that there was a inspector of police from the nearby place, Ahmednagar. He comes to Shirdi to see Baba. He was the first Christian to come. So his name, I don't remember the name. So people start objecting. In fact, in these many words, आप तो हिंदू और मुस्लिम को तो ले लिया, अभी क्रिश्चियन को भी ले लो, सबको ले लो. बाबा ने बोला हाँ. He started, people started objecting that, you have taken everybody and you take. Baba said, yes, that's my job. I'm going to embrace everybody. All of mine, I don't see religion. So that is where it started. Baba's, of course, we don't even have to think, talk, or discuss about the universal acceptance. Baba said, Sarva Dharma Samanvaya is that it means I look at all religions equally. But Baba said, I am a Sarva Dharma Svikari. I don't respect all religions alone. I accept all religions. Everything is in me. So that was Baba. That was, as I said, he was the destination, not the path. Right. So if you think that he was a Mohammedan, the best of Brahmins and Agnihotris, leaving aside their orthodox ways, fell prostrate at his feet. Those who went to make inquiries about his caste were dumbfounded and were captured by his darshan. So none could definitely decide whether Baba was a Hindu or a Mohammedan. So this goes on. The best of the Brahmins who went to ask Baba that what is your religion? Whom were you born to? Whether you were born a Hindu or a Muslim? They used to just prostrate. They just used to fall at his feet. They could not even voice their question. That is how the divine master was. He was always the destination. He was not the path. So the moment they saw the destination of their search. That's how people used to worship, and this is how we have to understand Sri Sainath Maharaj. This completes the first phase of chapter 7. Thank you, Sai Rams.